time for some of my favorite nostalgia. And there was once a time where that was a needed warning. God, I love the main series Ape Escape theme. That just takes me straight back to grade school. Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Ape Escape. I've honestly been wanting to do this for a while, but for some reason, older emulators in my older laptop just wouldn't register the control stick properly, so we're getting into it only now. Let's not mess around, let's get into a new game with a whole mess of starting cutscenes.
Spike, did the professor finish the time station yet? Are we gonna get to go back in time?
He said he'd be finished with it today. Let's go.
I can't wait to check out the dinosaurs. And what about the future?
Yeah, we'll keep talking because I'm going first.
That's not fair. Hey, wait up.
You better hurry up. I'll see you there. Hey, Professor!
Spike, Jake, over here, watch out.
Spike, the time station!
No, run you two.
It works. It actually works. We did it, Natalie. We did it. The time station is complete.
We don't have time for celebrating. We've got to do something.
Spike, can you hear me? You must listen carefully. Something awful has happened. There's been an accident. The time station has been activated by Spectre and you're being transported back in time. You'll soon arrive in the lost land when dinosaurs roam the Earth. Spectre has sent the apes back in time to try to change the course of history. His plans for world domination have begun. And if we don't stop the apes, history will be changed forever. You're our only chance. Two of my gadget inventions, the Stun Club and the Time Net, were also caught in the transport. I want you to use them to catch the apes and send them back here. The Stun Club can be used to defend yourself against attackers. And when you use it on the apes, they'll be stunned. And you'll have an extra second to catch them with the Time Net. There isn't time for any monkey business, Spike. Our fate is in your hands. We're depending on you. Be careful.
going for it.
I've always loved those intro cutscenes. I don't know why. The tone of Ape Escape is like the perfect balance of goofy and like kid-friendly levels of serious, if that makes any sense. Like nothing super dark. I don't know exactly how to describe it. But starting off though, we have the literal smallest stage in the game, and it's by and large a tutorial for using the game's main new innovation, the dual analog sticks, back when that was a new thing. Left analog stick, of course, moves Spike around, but the right analog stick isn't camera like most games would tend to do moving forward. It's instead it determines the direction you swing your tools in. You select the tools with any of the 4 face buttons, and you just swing them with the right analog stick. The stun club we have to start can take out normal enemy HPs or stun monkeys long enough for you to just catch them in your net. The net is only for catching monkeys though, and by and large, while you can catch monkeys at any point in time, the stun club is useful to make sure they stop moving, because they can be a little bit wily in terms of getting away with you.
Yes.
First level requires you to catch 3 of the 4 monkeys present in it, and even then you can only catch 3 of those 4, so oh well. That coin we got, by the way, is called a Spectre coin. We'll talk more about that in a few moments.
You did great.
By and large, the soundtrack loops in this game aren't too long, but I love every single bit. I especially love the stage clear theme here. Either way, welcome to our main hub for the game, and honestly, we'll get a better explanation from the professor here. Welcome to the time station. Everything here will help you with your mission. This room is the warp room. In front of you, the round switch will take you to the stage select area. Behind you, the red switch will take you to the load save data area. Be sure to read all the mailbox messages and learn from them. The mailboxes that you see throughout the levels will give you either minor little world building things about the particular area you're in, minor combat tutorials or gameplay tutorials in general, or will help you get hints towards catching specific monkeys, because some of them do get a little bit tricky later on in the game. The save area is also a little bit unique, though, in that if you press left from the load save area, you can get a sort of bio on the monkeys that we catch throughout the game. They'll show you their area, their stats, because every monkey does have some form of unique stats that'll influence, like, its AI patterns, as well as very minor bios, like it'll like or dislike something in particular. By and large, the sequels, especially Ape Escape 3, took this concept and ran with it, but here in Ape Escape 1, it is very straightforward. Speed influences, I believe the running speed attack is... I don't think it's their attack strength, it's how likely they are to go on the attack, and the alertness is how paranoid they are, essentially. Because Ape Escape is, in part, a stealth game. We'll go more into that even starting in the next level. But you can just play this hog wild and just try to catch up some monkeys and whack them with the stun club to take care of them all the same. With that, let's now go to the stage select. The levels are selected via, well, 3D representations of them, and they'll actively mark when you found, say, every Spectre coin or everything else in the level, although we can't find everything in a level for a while.
Look what I've got, a new gadget. Check it out.
This is the water net. Use it when you're underwater. I equipped it with an oxygen meter. I'm sending the new gadget over to you right now. Try it out in the training room. Without training, it will be too dangerous for you to continue on to the next area. Well, good luck and be careful.
Whenever the professor gives you a new tool, you are thrown into a forced tutorial segment to learn how to use it. Compared to some games with forced tutorials, these don't feel that intrusive because you can skip the tutorial portion of it on repeat playthroughs pretty easily. Although I do believe red mailboxes activate when you get near them for the first time, blue ones need to actively whack them. The water net is how you traverse underwater. You move around the left stick as usual, speed up your either ascension when you're not moving, or just moving with the R1 button, which is also the jump button, which seems like it'd be a little weird for the game's platforming, especially with it needing to be pressed twice for a double jump, but honestly, it comes across pretty naturally because you're doing a lot of claw movements throughout the game anyway. Because the D-pad is what makes the camera move, so you need to have kind of like a thumb on the analog stick, pointer finger on the left hand on the D-pad almost always anyway. With that said, the water net can also dive down while pressing the left stick. When you're underwater, you do have a air meter, and I believe if that runs out, it's a death, not, say, a point of damage out of Spike's potential 5 HP. But it genuinely so rarely kills me in Ape Escape 1 that's not really worth worrying about in my eyes. There's only maybe a couple levels where you end up underwater for that long anyway. And by pressing in the R3 button, you can fire a net to catch monkeys. It is a little limited in range because it only goes straight forward, but it is deceptively useful for underwater monkeys because the hitbox is a lot more forgiving due to it being very only moving straight forward. It's larger than the net would appear. Also, at the start of every single level, this particular character, this is Cassie, shows off how many you have to catch. It's almost never going to be the exact amount of monkeys in the level. It'll also show you how many Spectre coins are in the level of question.
I'm going for it!
By and large, levels start very small but do grow as we go through. In fact, I'd say level 1 to 2 here is a very notable size increase. Now, Ape Escape, I said earlier, is partially a stealth game, and that is true. What you want to do is sneak up on the monkeys more often than not, because the lights on top of their helmets actually have an indication of sorts. When they're blue, they're not aware you're there at all. When they're yellow, they're aware something is near, that something is wrong. If they spot you, that goes red, and they are running. With that said, if you're quiet or staying behind something, they probably will just return to the blue light, and then you can just get away from them, no problem. Or not get away from them, get towards them and catch them, no problem. Helping with stealth is, as we're going to learn from this next mailbox, there is sort of just a straight up stealth button. By pressing the left stick in when you're walking around, you'll crawl. And I do like how they actually remove some instruments from the music when you're doing this. And this allows you to sneak up on enemies quietly in order to get a really easy capture with them. We can't grab that monkey until way later in the game because you need to return to every level in the game to 100% it way later on. There is another ability that they don't go over for another couple of levels, I believe, where if you press the R3 button while you're crouching on the ground and crawling around, you'll enter sort of a balled up form that's supposed to be you playing dead. While you're like that, very few monkeys will actively notice you, so if they're suspicious of you, you can use that to just avoid being spotted as well.
Yes!
By and large, this game's difficulty curve is pretty easy. The big thing is it's by and large a tech demo for the DualShock. With that said, I think it's a really fun one. I adore this game's soundtrack so much. I believe the composer for this was just a straight-up musician before doing game stuff. Like, they actively approached a musician for the game's soundtrack because they liked the sound of it so much. And it really worked out. I love how this game sounds. And now we're going to move on to level 3. Now, the Spectre coins we gathered, I think, one in the last 2 stages each. They're a completely optional collectible unless you're going for the game's 100% rating, because every monkey, every time trial when we get to those later in the game, and every Spectre coin does contribute to 100%. The Spectre coins are by and large useless. They're only there for completion, but you do get mini games for getting a certain amount of them. I believe it's 10, 40, and 70. But one thing I've never been too sure about is whether or not that is the actual count or the percentage, because honestly, I just grab them and don't really worry about it. Now, what's interesting about the game to me is because you don't need to catch every monkey within a level to complete it, there are some variant routes you can do, especially in the early game when you need to get the required monkeys. The big thing is, though, in every level there are some that are just straight up impossible to grab without getting later tools, because we will get more like the stun club and time net as we progress through the game. So if you see a monkey that you're just trying your best to reach but can't, come back later. Go look for other monkeys. And if there looks like something that there's a monkey underneath, whack it with your stun club. It'll more than usually just reveal it. Like, this monkey will just run away from you from between the egg to the eggs. Watch out for enemies like the giant dinosaurs, though, because they will attack you, and they do hurt. With that said, Spike has 5 hit points. Whenever you find a cookie that will recover 1, you can either find those in the level or by taking out certain enemies. And the little, like, yellow gold things we've been collecting, they're just by and large Mario coins. You get 100 of them, you get an extra life. There's, I think, 2 variants of them. There's the small one, which is worth 1, and then the big ones, which I forget, those are worth 5 or 10. So by and large, the game does work well, but there is the occasional sort of janky monkey to grab. Like, the one that's on this T-Rex You need to have the T-Rex ram its head into these stone portions of these little inner circles. By baiting it into it, by standing next to them until the last second. But the hitboxes for what the timing of it are a little bit off, I feel. It's kind of precise. You might honestly have to take a hit just to make this particular monkey fall off the T-Rex. I remember even as a kid having trouble with this particular monkey. I think with the one I usually caught instead of this one when I was real little was I would go behind the waterfall because there's always something behind the waterfall. With that said, I'll be grabbing that monkey later on. By and large, if I'm recalling correctly, you can grab most monkeys in the game by the time you get the second to last tool, which I think is like, I want to say that's World 5 you get that in. Which, the way this game's structured, there are 3 levels per world and 6 worlds total with an extra 7th sort of thing going on. We'll get more to that as we go. The levels, though, do exponentially increase in size by the end of the game, especially 3 particular levels that have, between the 3 of them combined, about almost a third of the game's monkeys. More on that later on. By and large, the game doesn't punish you for going out of the way for certain monkeys over other ones. It's just what ones you find and which ones you find easiest to catch. And because of that, sometimes the early levels feel like they suffer in terms of variance, but you don't need to worry about that too much because by the end of the game, we're going to see a lot of different mechanics. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2, we're going to start off World 2 if memory serves, and catch some more primates. See you guys then.